So I've been asked by several people about how I came up with our route for our trip across Colorado over the summer. If you haven't seen it, go check out that playlist. I've put a link to the video or even the playlist in the description below. But one of the challenges I faced is that I haven't been to Colorado before, so I didn't know any of the trails, and they wanted to know how I found these trails without going there. I will say one of the easiest ways to find a route for a trip is to just take one that someone else has already created. There are thousands and thousands of trails mapped out, available online to download for free. And a lot of states have large multi-day trails that will go across the entire state or have a large loop that takes up most of the state. I have put a list of those together on my website, and I put a link to that below as well. So it's on revereoverland.com/routes. So check that out. If you know of any others that I haven't included, please comment below or comment on the website so that I can add those. Now, for the way we went, there weren't any of these large multi-day routes available. I did use a small section of the Alpine Loop that was available online, but for the most part, I created the route myself. My starting point in creating the route was putting together a list or a map of places that I really had to go, the must-see places. And there's a couple of ways I did this. The first one was from inspirations from social media. So one of my biggest influences would be the Lifestyle Overland YouTube channel, as well as the Bold Overland YouTube channels. So I've watched a lot of their videos, I've seen places that they've been, trails that they have done, and I added them to my list. These inspirations can be found anywhere on social media, so you can check out these YouTube videos, subscribe to those channels, watch their adventures, but you can also go on Instagram and follow people from states you're interested in, go on Facebook and talk to people from other groups. Once I had a rough idea of the route I wanted to take, I used the Google Explore tool. So on Google Maps, there is a small tab in the bottom next to the Street View icon. And as you scroll across the map, it has pictures that pop up across the bottom of the screen showing attractions that are along the way. Anywhere that look particularly cool, I'd add to the list as well of places to stop along the way. This is how I found places like the Wolf Sanctuary and the cool mining structures around Creed. Once I had a list of places that I really had to visit, I started the most difficult process, and that's creating the actual route. Now, there are two tools that I use to find the unpaved back roads versus the highways. One of them is the physical atlas from Benchmark, and the other one is Gaia GPS, and that can be on the tablet or on the computer. And I'll talk more about this one in a minute, but I want to take an opportunity to show you what is on the Benchmark atlases. So these Benchmark atlases can be ordered from Amazon, and I put an affiliate link in the description below so you can go check this out. They're available for most of the western states. Unfortunately, they're not found for Kentucky, but you can find the equivalent for most of the states around here as well. Now, the thing I love about the Benchmark atlases is that they show the paved versus unpaved roads, and they even indicate where high clearance is required, and things like gated and seasonal roads are marked on the atlas. It's always a good idea to have a physical copy of an atlas as well, just as a backup. And Gaia GPS offers much of the same functions as well, and that can be on the computer, on the tablet, or on your phone. And the great thing about Gaia is when you create routes on either your computer or on the tablet, it will sync across all of your devices using the cloud. So on Gaia right now, I'm looking on my tablet, and I have Animas Forks pulled up, and it shows the unpaved road at the bottom right, and then the high clearance roads going up towards Engineer Pass to the north, Cinnamon Pass to the east, and California Gulch off to the west. Now, this is just one of the many map layers that are available for Gaia GPS. I can also go on to the National Geographic Illustrated trails. Now, the National Geographic Illustrated maps are fantastic. They show the same kind of information, so it's got the paved and unpaved roads, but it also has annotations on there. It shows things like the restrooms at Animas Forks, as well as the gates, the private roads, It shows how some of the gulches are impassable when wet, and it shows suitable camping, climbing areas, waterfalls, trails, and other relevant information. I can also change over to the US Forest Service maps, which show the same information again, this time showing all of the Forest Service roads. If you're interested in using these maps from Gaia, these are available with premium. I have more information on my website at revereoverland.com/Gaia, and I have a discount code available on there too, and you get up to 52% off your premium membership. So check that out. The atlases and the maps on Gaia gave me several possible options of routes to take, and from there I would compare them to satellite images on Gaia, satellite images on Google, and even Google Street View images in some cases to see how interesting various routes were. One of the areas that I really failed to plan for on the trip in Colorado was camping. We only ended up staying at one of our intended campsites, and it was the one campground we booked in Ouray. So I had a lot of difficulty knowing the pace that I was going to be traveling, so where I'd need to stay each night, and also we had to move on twice because of wildfires that were blocking our route. Now, camping out west is nothing like camping in Kentucky. There are thousands and thousands of places that you can go camp for free in the National Forest land and the BLM land. Now, there are a couple of tools that we use to find places to camp. One of them was the website and app freecampsites.net, but the other one, and the one that really saved us, was the land ownership layer that is available on Gaia GPS Premium. This is a fantastic tool for finding free places to camp because it shows the places that are owned by the National Forest Service or the Bureau of Land Management. And in these places, for the most part, you can just pull up and camp for free. So on Gaia GPS, I'm pulling up the public land layer, and the areas that you see in red are Bureau of Land Management, and then where it is in green, that is owned by the National Forest Service. So it shows areas that you can and cannot camp. Now, there may be some other rules that apply in these areas. So, for example, you're not allowed to camp on the roads, and in a lot of these places, you're not allowed to pull off of the roads. So you need to make sure that you are following the local laws and rules. And of course, Gaia is fantastic for navigation as well. So I planned all of the routes on the computer and then synced it to the iPad, and I had this mounted in the front of the Jeep on a RAM mount. I had all of the maps downloaded to the iPad so that if I didn't have signal, they would still be there available for me, and it showed me where I needed to go. In my opinion, this is the best mapping, navigation, and tracking app available, and it was just incredibly useful. If you want to check out some more of the screenshots, go to my review at revereoverland.com/Gaia, or click the link below. And I've got the discount link on my website, so you can save up to 52%. If you have any other tips, I'd love to hear them. You know, I'm not the expert at this. This is just how I planned my route. If you have any other YouTube channels that you watch for inspiration, let me know in the comments below.